Today we are going to get started standing up, but as always, if you prefer to sit or lay down, find what works in your body today. If you are standing up, find somewhere near the front of your mat with all 10 toes pointing forward and feet hips distance. Hands can rest by your sides, palms face up for more receiving practice today, or palms touching at heart center, whichever feels natural and good for you. We'll meet up there. And once you get there, gently draw your eyes closed. We'll take the next couple of moments to simply allow ourselves to arrive in our bodies for practice today. Gently begin to feel the breath in your body. So notice the inhales and the exhales. Feel the chest rise and fall with every breath. And take a couple moments to simply be with the sensation of breathing in your body. As you keep this feeling of the breath in the foreground of your mind, allow your body to naturally relax around the breath in the background. So soften your face, relax your jaw. Allow the shoulders to melt down the back body as you soften the arms and hands. Relax the chest, the belly, soften the back body. And add a softness, maybe a gentle bend to the knees as you relax the legs and simply feel the connection of the ground beneath your feet. Again, as you're here, continue to feel the breath arrive and exit your body. Allow all the stuff that's on your mind to fade away. For the next couple of moments in our time together, all you have to do is be in your body on your mat. There's nothing else to do. Everything else will have its time and place. Right now, the time is for yoga. So let yourself be here. Maybe you lengthen your inhales and exhales to really feel the entirety of your breath. But take a couple moments, be with your breath before we begin to flow. Once you feel connected and tuned into the body through the breath, gently draw the eyes open and allow the hands to lower by your sides if they're not already there. Take a big breath or two with the eyes open, again keeping the gaze inwards, though we have vision back in the picture. And once you're ready, we're going to, if your feet are not hips distance, please bring them there, but we'll bring our weight over towards that left foot, shifting the weight over, and we're just going to balance. If you need something next to you to hold on to, feel free to do so. To start by swinging your right foot forward and back, and allow it to be an organic type nature, just kind of however it wants to swing, let it swing. We're just kind of warming up the leg muscles, so hands can be by your sides, on the hips, whatever feels good. Again, if you need help balance, feel free to do so. And feel free to go in kind of any motion. So you can feel free to begin to swing across the body, go behind the body, just kind of have fun with it. Just kind of allow your leg to flop around there. We're just opening up the hip a bit and warming up the leg muscle simply by swinging the leg around. And try to stay connected to what you feel, stay present in the body. Again, feel free to move however you want. A couple more swings and then we'll move to the other side. Take about one more big breath or so. And when you're ready, set that foot right back down. Again, feet hips distance, and then we'll switch over. So switch over, shift the weight to that right hand side. Let that left foot get light. Once you feel steady, again, if you need to hold on to something, feel free to do so. But begin to simply start with forward and back. Once you kind of feel the motion, maybe you begin to go diagonal, across the body, in front, behind. Just again, allow yourself to be loose with it, have fun. Just warm up the leg, find whatever motion feels good for you, and just notice what you feel. See if you can stay with the breath, and it always helps to find somewhere to look at on the ground when it comes to balancing. Couple more leg swings, again, find however it feels good to just kind of let that leg flow. Take about 1 or 2 more breaths. Great job. When you're ready, set that foot back down. Take a moment, just observe how the legs feel after swinging them around like that. And we'll make our way to a forward fold. So on your next inhale, hands sweep out and around, palms touch. Exhale, begin to hinge at the hips, folding down towards your mat. On the inhale, rise up halfway, pull the heart forward. Now pause here and continue to breathe. So we're going to really work into stretching the hamstrings, so the backs of the upper legs. So I want you to find the place that works good for you. If this feels like an extreme stretch right now, then lift those hands up. Maybe you place them on the thighs or the lower legs. If you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, the hands can always lower. But begin to bend the knees, straighten them, and find a point where you have a manageable stretch on the backs of the legs. Somewhere where you can breathe and focus inwards rather than feel like you're really straining the body. Breathe deeply. Again, if you want to go all the way, crown of the head can work down towards the mat, but we're just going for a nice gentle stretch. Again, main stretch should feel in the backs of the legs rather than the back body or anywhere else. We'll pause here for a couple more big breaths. Breathe to those hamstrings. Relax the jaw. One more full breath here. Whenever your next inhale arises, rise up halfway and pull the heart forward. On the exhale, plant the hands and step your feet back behind you. Plank pose. Lower the knees, then the chest, then the chin down towards the mat. And on your inhale, pull the heart forward, low cobra. Exhale to down dog. So curl the toes under, press up and back, down dog. Same thing, we're going to work into the hamstrings here as well. So add some sort of movement. Maybe you bend the knees, pedal out the feet. Shift the weight forward and back or side to side, but we'll eventually be working towards the backs of the legs. So just like we did with swinging the legs, find organic movement that feels good for warming up our hamstrings. Continue to stay with the breath and feel the body. Breathing deeply. We'll hold this posture for a couple more breaths. One more big breath here. When your next inhale arises, step only your right foot up between your hands. Once you get there, on your exhale, lower your back knee down towards the mat, and then inhale, rise on up. We're going to place the hands on the right thigh. So pause here. We're going to move towards Ardha Hanumanasana, which is half split pose. As we do so, we're going to uncurl the back toes. So if those are curled under, uncurl them, and then inch your foot forward so you can begin to straighten that right leg. Once you get to a point where you start to feel a nice stretch on the back of that right thigh, you're going to pause. So it might just be a subtle walking out. If you're not feeling too much with having the foot just walked out just a tad in front of you, then you're going to begin to lift the toes up off the mat. So notice how I'm flexing my foot and pulling the toes back towards me. You'll move to that stage if you feel ready. Now from there, if you still want a little bit of a deeper stretch, we're going to begin to lean forward into it. So with those hands on that right thigh, you can begin to lower the chest, pulling that heart center towards the toes. Now as we're here, we want to keep pulling that right hip backwards and keep the left hip stacked over that right knee. Now this stretch can get pretty intense pretty quickly, so find where this works for you. If you even want to take it one more step further, you can lower the hands towards the mat. And again, we're really focusing on pulling the heart forward. Maybe you begin to lower the chest down towards the leg, and if you're doing so, focus on lifting that tailbone slightly. So we're extending the heart forward by pointing the tailbone towards the back of the room, the back of the mat, and that'll really exaggerate the stretch you're receiving on the backs of the thighs. So breathe deeply here. We'll hold here for a couple more big breaths. Keep drawing that right hip back and gently pressing that left hip forward. Relax the jaw, soften the shoulders. 2 more big breaths. 1 more breath. If your hands are on the ground, on an inhale, begin to lift the heart up and make your way back up, bringing the hands on the thigh. From here, you can inch your foot forward and then make your way back to the bent knee. A little bit of a clumsy transition there, but we got there. Eventually lower those hands towards the ground. On the exhale, step that foot back, and then lower the heart back down. On an inhale, pull the heart forward, low cobra, and then exhale, press it on back, down dog. Pause here and simply observe how your right hamstring feels in comparison to the left. If you'd like to continue to add movement to your down dog, feel free to do so. If you want to just hold down dog and begin to stretch into those backs of the legs, feel free to do so as well by really pressing the knees, the thighs towards the wall behind you and breathing deeply. 2 more big breaths here. Breathe to the lower body. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, step only the left foot up between your hands. We'll do the same stretch on the other side. So exhale, lower that back knee, uncurl the toes. Inhale, come on up, and then place those hands on the left thigh. So again, we'll take this into tiny little components, break it down, and you find wherever you want to go today. So start again by just kind of inching your foot out in front of you. Again, when you begin to straighten that leg, you may receive a stretch that's more than enough. So you're going to stay right there. If you want to amplify the stretch a little bit, you'll begin to lift the toes up off the mat, flexing the foot. Again, you may need to kind of readjust by inching the heel forward more. Find where this works for you. If this is enough, you're going to stay right here. If you want to take it one step further, you can begin to lean the heart forward. That might be enough. You can stop there or eventually lower the hands down to the mat. Wherever you go, if the heel's on the ground, the toes are pulling back towards the knee. That left hip is now pulling back as the right hip presses forward. Right hip stays stacked over the right knee, and breathe deeply. If you're at the point where you're lowering the chest down towards the thigh, then really focus on pointing that tailbone back towards the mat behind you and finding that lift and length of the spine. Breathe deeply, so relax the jaw, soften the shoulders, and send your breath to where you feel the stretch the most. Opening up those hamstrings, so breathe to that region. Again, if at any point the stretch feels like too much, then come on out a bit. Find where your body wants to be today. Continue to stay with the breath, feeling the inhales and the exhales. Let's take 2 more big breaths here. And whenever your next inhale arises, if the hands are on the ground, walk them back up towards you, eventually placing the hands back on the thigh. Exhale, bring your foot back down to the mat, and then lower the hands down. Bring the knee back down, stepping it back behind you, and then lower the chest down. Inhale to lift the heart center, low cobra, and then exhale. Let's go to child's pose this time. So sink the hips back to the heels, big toes touch. And pause here to breathe for a couple big breaths. Feel the breath in the body. Breathe deeply. On your next inhale, gently walk the hands back towards you until you're sitting all the way up on the heels. On the exhale, swing the legs out and around in front of you, and we're going to come to a seated posture next. So find whatever seat feels good for you, whether that's legs extended or crossed, and we'll meet with palms touching at heart center. Gently draw your eyes closed. Take a couple moments to reestablish the connection to your breath, to feel the inhales and the exhales in your body. Maybe you gently draw your awareness to the backs of your upper legs or the hamstrings and just notice how they feel. Become aware after those stretches that we took, how the legs feel. Take a couple more breaths, allowing yourself to simply be in the present moment with your body. And gently give yourself a smile. Really thank yourself for showing up here today and for dedicating your time to your health, your life, and your practice. Thank you so very much for sharing your beautiful practice and energy with me here today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.